hello.
Hey.
Hey. So, it is another beautiful day. We just finished our Christmas special last night of 2021, even though it's 2022 now. Don't think too hard. There's one for this year, too. So, welcome to our show, Checkpoint, where we discuss and discern the current events of the most recent episode of Check Please. And of course, today we are discussing Check Please, the 2021 Christmas special.
Woo!
I would love to welcome our members today. I am Keni, your fortunate host. I've got Foaly as my co-host. That way. Hungry for answers.
Nom nom. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining.
Xeno, our swamp witch swarmonger. Grem, our robot master and beloved gnome.
Yori.
And Beardy, our beloved DM.
Well, not this time.
Well, I guess I was DM Daddy. That's right.
Yeah.
My brain's already like, it's done. I'm no longer Daddy.
We need
Our beloved true necromancer? Is that what's that one?
Yeah. Beloved true necromancer mom, I guess, in this case.
Also, shout out to Skrewy, who couldn't be with us.
Yeah.
today,
Yes.
We like
Hello, Skrewy.
So
Much love to you.
The Necromamicon?
No. Absolutely not.
Oh my god. I love that so
Hey.
much.
I coughed and missed it.
Necromancer?
The Necromamicon.
Oh! That's the parenting guide that she wrote.
Yeah. That's the Necromamicon by Karis.
I'd
like
buy that
it.
book.
That's good.
Yeah.
Can we
Dead
can we
reindeers
make that
equals
canon?
good.
Can I stick that on the wiki?
Jesus Christ.
I have to think
Yeah.
about that one. Okay.
Yeah, all right.
Shall we launch into it?
Yeah, let's get into it.
I mean, for one thing, how's everyone doing? How is your holiday season? How is your 2022 going? 2 days in.
So glad the holidays are over.
But we have our first blue sky in like 3 years, so
Yeah.
that's nice.
There's a blue sky.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it was snowing all the last 2 days, and I was actually going to take down our Christmas decorations if it wasn't going to snow this year, because it didn't snow all in December. So I was like, oh, well, if it's not going to snow, I'll take down the Christmas decorations. But now I'm going to leave it up until the snow goes away.
I mean,
So
leave
until,
them
like,
until
March.
next year if you know,
Yeah, there you
long
go.
enough.
I've got neighbors like that.
Save some time. Leave them up with the Halloween decorations and the
Nah,
Thanksgiving decorations and
I
the Easter
prefer-
decorations.
We don't have Thanksgiving decorations. We only have Halloween, and it stays up for 2 months.
Just have
Yeah.
skeletons strangling snowmen year round.
The Halloween decorations stay up during set.
Oh my
Build
god.
the snowman. Here's what you do. You build the snowman around one of the Halloween skeletons, and then it's a snowman for as long as the Christmas and the winter lasts. It will
Yeah,
melt
I
off,
kinda
and
like
then you've got the
that.
skeleton ready for Halloween.
Yeah.
God.
Exactly.
Not just a hat rack.
Yeah. I've got a neighbor that has like a full skeleton pirate ship in their front yard. It's this massive Halloween decoration, and they leave it up year round. They actually put other decorations on it.
Are
So they put up
you?
Christmas lights on the skeleton ship, and it's like I love this neighbor. I have no idea who they are, but they have good taste.
Are you sure that your neighbor isn't a skeleton pirate?
You know what? More power to them. I hope
Like,
that
do the number of skeletons like increase? Is it sort of, and are we sure they're fake? Is it actually the skeletons of the neighbors who object to this display like get added to it?
75
Maybe.
bodies
That'd be even
found.
better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Red
My holiday
still-
was great. I felt terrible. I feel great today. Just my voice is gone. So
It's a Christmas
So, yeah.
miracle.
it's a Christmas miracle.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
New Year's
Well,
miracle.
On the Christmas topic, how about we talk about that fucking amazing, pardon my language, but given the circumstances, piece of Christmas holiday art that Keni did that
Oh.
no one expected. I didn't see that one coming.
So
It was
good.
amazing.
Thank
So
you.
good.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much. I loved my little like hooded cloak with the like animal fox here. I want one now. I'm totally gonna get one. It was adorable.
It can't
It's
be
totally
that hard to make, to be honest.
It's such a curler look because it's what they would definitely want to wear,
Yeah.
but would never admit to wearing. But if Riz like gave it to them, it's like, oh no, fine, I guess I'll wear this just to make you happy.
Well-
Secretly loving every minute of it.
The thing is, when I do the Christmas outfits, it's still your guys' normal outfits that you would wear, other than it's in Christmas colors, and there's small added details that I put in to make it a little more Christmassy. So I add fluff at the end of coats and stuff like that, or boots. And I think Levette's... No. I think Petravian's was probably the least Christmassy out of all of them, since it was armor. And I thought fluff on the armor would look really weird, so his was just like a bunch of different colors for Christmas.
That's great.
But he also had Chisel.
I had
His
Chisel.
Rudolph Chisel.
A Rudolph
Oh,
Chisel.
we'll talk about Rudolph Chisel. That was amazing.
Thank you.
So we didn't start though. We didn't launch directly into the Christmassy part. We had the framing story of the delayed summer solstice, and I actually want to talk to you, Kenny, about why you took that approach. Just talk to me about how you came to think of the story, how you approached writing this one, because it was
So-
longer. I know you've said than your previous ones.
Well, it was written longer more so because of describing buildings. I had a lot more
Okay.
maps than any of the other specials I've done, but that was because of how the story was built for me. I was like, I have to have these maps so that you guys go on this adventure. So it's longer than I guess I gotta say last year now. Last year's Halloween special even. And, but I think the Halloween special took more time, in time, and that one hasn't been released yet. We'll be releasing that this year, probably before our Halloween special that we will do a live show of this year, just for thematic sake. But when I was thinking about how I wanted to come across this, I always try to set it up so that it's where you are in time, the last place we set up in story, because I find it's very, it's less honest if I just am like, oh, you're here now. Deal with it.
Yeah, I feel and like there's this sense of like, what would your characters do in this hypothetical Christmas future versus how do they feel about it right where they're at?
Yeah. So I tried.
Plus, it enables things to be pseudo-canon versus like fully non-canon. It gives you that wiggle room to say, well, maybe, maybe not.
That's why I try to make the specials like, if our viewers want to say that's canon, fuck it. Like, let it be canon in your mind. And if you don't, it doesn't have to be. And that's kind of the magical part about the holiday specials. So, besides, everyone forgets at the end anyways. So, in a way. But yeah,
Sorry,
what's
go
up?
ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, framing it for summer solstice, I was also taking into account of what time of year it was currently, because I'm like, oh, it's Christmas in July. So I kind of thought of that and went, the kids would totally beg Karis to do Christmas in July with everyone. They're like, oh, it's summer solstice, but what if we did summer solstice, but it was like winter solstice in July, and then we had all our friends here? Please, 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 please. For like a week, probably. It's like, they're
I just
busy
love it when you
saving
do that,
up.
because the adorableness of seeing Karis and the kids again, that delighted me as a player. Not so much Kurla, because Kurla doesn't have the same attachments to them as the rest of the characters. But what did everyone else think of that? Of getting to see Karis and the kids? And
It was always fun having Karis around.
I miss Karis constantly.
Get the pleasure of being excited for in and out of character.
And then it was also fun to get to see the kids again reacting in horror to Riz.
Yeah.
Poor Riz.
It's okay.
Riz.
Life is hell.
We'll work it out.
So we got to, and I apologize, I'm kind of railroading over you here, Kenny, but obviously you were the DM of the episode, so I have lots of questions for you. Otherwise, you're going to be asking questions for yourself.
Yeah, that's why I said I didn't have like a lot to put it for input on like our prompts for today, because I was like, I wrote it. I've written this for like a whole month.
Although, given that the facility that you have with them, playing one character against another that you're both playing, I think you probably could pull off the whole interviewing yourself.
If I was
About
in
the
character, I
thing.
could probably do it.
That would be so much fun. But no, let's launch into.
So which character's interviewing?
Oh dear, in the start of the movie, this is going to be awkward. But we don't spend a whole lot of time in this delayed summer solstice framing story, because we jump directly into the that wonderful D20 roll that no one did too well with.
That couldn't have worked better for me than any other rolls. There were 3 nat ones, and I think the highest roll was a 15, and I was like...
Yeah, so it would be a 1, 1, 1. I got a 2.
Yeah.
It was...
You had a contingency, I imagine. Or if someone had if there had been 3 nat 20s, you still would have.
I would have been like, oh, you all catch it, but when you catch it, it like bursts into snowflakes or whatever. Like, there was always going to be, you're gonna get there. I just was hoping that you guys would fail. It was just the most beautiful fail I've ever seen. And it really just made the story so much better, in my opinion. Like, that's where fails can be super fun, and I'm just so happy it happened.
Dice gods smiled.
They did smile upon me as DM.
So this is the second time we got transported through a broken orb to
Yeah.
Well,
holiday special.
Yeah, so it was the
And that-
Halloween special. We did that as well.
Which leads into an interesting kind of point that you made, Kenny, as kind of a side note, which I found fascinating, which was the sort of the hint or the suggestion that the different holiday specials might all have a sort of not just that shared connection of, oh, we remember this happening when they go into it, but maybe there's a deeper shared narrative and universe there. That was a...
So there's kind of a story that I want to slowly tell through some years, and this isn't just like for this season's characters, because I still plan to do this like through season 3, season 4, as many seasons as y'all are gonna stick around for, as long as you let me be the terrible DM for the holidays.
You're a wonderful DM.
Thank you.
Wonderful
What are you talking about?
DM.
Yeah, I was gonna
I'm
say, you haven't done that yet, so it's kind of hard to say.
I don't
You've
know.
only done
I
a good
feel
one.
a little bit like a monster sometimes, where I'm like, this seems a little mean, but I'm gonna do it.
Beardy, I mean, I'm gonna guess the advice you'd give there is lean into that feeling. But what would you make of of Kenny's DMing?
Oh, it was great. Like, there was a lot of preparation. If anything, I would almost say that you shouldn't get locked into your preparation too much. But I understand in the case since it's a one shot, it makes more sense, right?
Oh, this
If
is why.
if this was gonna
This is why I
if this
can't
was
be
gonna
like
be
a
like-
normal DM.
But if it was gonna be like a campaign,
Oh yeah, like I'd
I
have
would say
so much
you
more
almost
vague notes.
almost have too much of a hand on it.
Mhm.
But since it's a one shot, it's perfect. Like, this is exactly the amount of control you should have for a one shot. So you did perfectly.
Like,
You were kicking ass.
when I was
'Cause
planning it out,
we ended right on the dot.
Oh,
too.
yeah,
Like,
12
you had
p.m.
it timed out exact.
That's my check for someone's DM is just if we start and end on time, and we ended exactly on time, and it was like,
I knew where I wanted the break to be. I knew where
Yep.
all of these things where I was like, we're gonna get to the time. I was like, I might be 10 minutes early, but I'm getting to midnight. And I did it. I fucking did it.
You should feel good about that.
Yeah, it's a good accomplishment.
I've never
never
been
pulled
able
that off
to
before.
plan out a fucking speech for like a correct amount of time before, but goddamn, can I do a D&D game apparently?
If only the characters had all had as much fun as the players did, because the reactions when we arrived in Christmas Town again were freaking priceless. And I'm thinking Vera's response in particular, Xeno.
so good.
No.
Why?
Dramatic, falling to the knees.
I don't deserve this.
Let's be honest, this is just every time Vera seeping deeper and deeper into just madness.
I can't even say I blame her. I was like, as a player, I empathize with her the most.
Technically, this is probably the best one for her mentally because she didn't have to deal with the people in Christmas Town for that long.
Damn these cheerful, loving, family-oriented people. Fuck them.
Yeah. How dare they give us cookies?
Oh, goodness. And cocoa. Oh my god, the cocoa.
How did you guys feel about me doing a time skip for Christmas Town? Because when I was coming up with this, I'm just gonna preface this. I still wanted to honor Beardy doing the original Christmas special, so I still wanted to take it to Christmas Town. I still want to have my underlying story, but I was like, okay, it's still Christmas. It's my least favorite holiday, so I'm gonna try my best at being the spirit of Christmas with all of this. So I tried to still incorporate the original themes that Beardy had, but I did a Narnia thing where I skipped it in the future quite a bit. And I was wondering how you guys felt about that, actually.
That was a good call, frankly.
I'm happy the people of Christmas Town had like 200 years of peace.
But I do
Yeah.
miss Bosley.
Wow, gee gosh, he is the most wonderful great grandfather I ever did have.
I
Was Judith?
didn't want to like
Yeah, it was
interrupt
Judith.
with
Edith.
the actual game to say this, but when we went from black and white to color, I imagined everything being in like CRTV color.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Very
probably the
slightly
best,
off
like-
color.
Oversaturated.
It's very
Yeah.
WandaVision.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I was thinking about this thematically, which I probably will keep playing with in the future, which is I wanted it to be like how TV specials evolved over time, is that they
Mhm.
slowly become more modern, but
Yeah.
there was the black and whites, and now we're kind of
Now we're in the Technicolors. Now.
yeah, claymation.
When do we get to
I
the
don't know.
Hallmark Christmas special?
Oh,
Soon.
guys, when we get to
Oh.
Hallmark Christmas special, it's gonna be bad, but I'm hoping it's
Yeah.
gonna be for season 4.
So wait, does that mean?
I'm
Does that mean that
nervous
we
about
all start as
Hallmark.
like successful adventurers, but we all realize that our real roots are to ditch all of our success,
I don't know.
move
I was
back
wor-
to our hometowns,
Yeah.
and like fall in love with this schlubby guy next door who can teach us the meaning of Christmas.
I'm worried because Lavette is already a no-nonsense business girl from the big city.
Yeah,
Like,
perfect.
she's definitely gonna get replaced.
Well, the thing is, because I believe that season 2 will probably finish up by December next year. Who knows? It's
Yeah,
a gut
that's
feeling.
fair. That's a fair cast, though.
I will be able to have information for something that I've been wanting to do for a Christmas special, but I didn't think I'd be allowed to because it would involve backstories more. So as long as season 2 finishes up, actually, it's mostly out of respect for Vera, because secretive bitch with your backstory. But I really want to do this story, so I already have next year's kind of thought out, as long as it works out that way.
Would next year's be these characters, or would it be the next
I
campaign's
don't think
characters?
we'll be starting campaign 3 by then, but
That's fair.
even if we were, I
Suppose
think it
that
would
we
be
did.
more, it would work out better if I did season 2's characters, maybe as a
think that
last
makes
hurrah too.
Yeah, it could be like the final capstone for the characters.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like
What
what happened
last
with Soul.
adventure out.
That's what we already
also
did
there's-
the first time around.
There's not necessarily a reason we couldn't have a mix, too, for holiday specials.
That's true. It just depends on if you guys are comfortable with playing several characters.
Or just one from a different season.
Hmm.
The fact that we get to bring in the Snake Eyes characters in these specials is also really, really fun. So I think it's great that we can draw from different seasons and
Exactly.
that
if
it
that was a
allows
precedent.
It's a whole bunch of timey-wimey stuff.
Mhm.
timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly. Now we didn't spend that much time in Christmas Town until we got back later, but there was time for a few lovely moments. One of which was Archie discovering the joy of snowball fights,
That was
which
good.
was priceless. Well done, Beardy. Well done, Grem, on that.
Oh man, I
Oh
was
my
waiting for that. Like as soon as people started throwing snowballs, I was like, I gotta get Archie involved in this. But I gotta do it. I gotta take my time with it. I gotta let that one play out. Glad I did.
It was brilliant.
Oh.
I think one of my favorite moments of that evening was having Archie throw fucking snowballs.
I could have watched that for like 4 hours.
I
just
know, right?
Archie beaning each character with a snowball. And here is one for you. Ah.
Christmas special Archie can be the boss fight. We'll get 6-armed snowball fight.
And Petravian's catch was also quite lovely. The whole
It
stat,
was.
your description of that with the skidding along, that was nicely played.
I really do try my best with descriptions. I know I'm still learning to be a DM, so there's a lot of stuff where I'll just stop and be like, Beardy, what is this thing? How do I do a thing? Help!
I mean, descriptions are fantastic.
They're
I've been-
good? Okay.
I've been DMing for like what 7 years now, and yeah, I'm learning things about descriptions from you. So,
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Now I'm all embarrassed. Okay, keep going.
I mean, you know, you're not flailing around when it comes to the story beats and descriptions. It's just some issues with the game mechanics.
Yeah,
and not even
mechanics
that,
are my issues.
but not even necessarily the mechanics, but just the interface of the game. It's when, like, you know what you're needing to do. It's just kind of do it, and so that's
Yeah, I'm like, I know what I need, but I don't know how to do it.
So we got to knock into some characters. We got to knock into Zephyr first and foremost.
Yeah, and for the audience, that was their first time meeting Zephyr. So the first special I ever did, which was the Halloween special for 2020, I think, which was Soul inviting over everyone to the mansion where you all discovered a mysterious orb there.
Isn't that this year's? Or 2021's?
The one that we recorded this year is not going to be released until next year, but
Yeah.
the one
So
that
the-
was released this year was
Okay, sorry.
the first
misremembered.
Halloween special.
Yes.
Yeah.
We,
The murder mystery.
the murder mystery.
The clue one.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I try to do theming with all the specials, but that one you discovered a magical orb that involved time of some kind.
Yeah.
But Zepha is a character that is actually for Snake Eyes Season 2.
Ah.
I also play them in our side game that we play when we are unable to do main game, either by someone being gone. So, sorry. I wanted to bring them in because since I had brought Kailani in previously, I was like, oh, of course, I want to bring in Zepha in this and slowly start introducing Snake Eyes Season 2 characters here and there. And I was able to, like, tongue-in-cheek allude to things about stuff that everyone will discover eventually once that happens. So it was very fun for me to be able to play along with that character. Plus, I thought they'd be the best, like, no-shit person for the party to deal with, actually. Just based on personalities.
Yeah, the response of, watching the language around the children was very nice.
Yeah.
What
I
did
guess
say?
we might as well full disclosure that Zepha is a character we as players are familiar with
Yeah.
already because that side
Mhm.
game, and I as a player was I really enjoyed the opportunity to interact with a party member from a different group with this character, to be like, how would Levette deal with Zepha? Which was mostly like I thought about it before, and I was like, I don't know, should I have that strong a reaction because they are crass and rude, but so is like Vera.
Yeah.
by a much greater magnitude. But it was still a really fun interaction, especially because the whole interaction with Karis and everything was hilarious.
And it is nice as well that these holiday specials can be used not just to bring in past characters, but also to tease future characters from future campaigns, be it of Snake Eyes or maybe even of Check Please. So
Yeah,
that
and
was
speaking to that just a little bit. I initially thought that one of the characters was actually a different character from a future campaign. That turned out to not be. So I was
From one of my
excited
characters?
either way. Yeah.
Oh, you thought it was for the one that turned out to be Paydor?
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought that was a different character at first.
I assumed it would be Paydor just because of the skull.
Yeah.
No, and that made that was my second guess. But that matched the physical description of another character I was looking forward to seeing at some point.
We're gonna have to revisit that in 2 or 3 years.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
gonna be more
season-
than that.
Season 6?
6,
oh,
yeah.
Oh wow. Okay, a decade hence. Set your
Yeah.
clocks
Season
for
6.
January 2nd,
So 10 years
2032.
from now, we can get to that character. It'll be
And you
great.
can all meet
After-
that character that I thought that was.
After the
Right.
Fall Society.
So I'll tell you what, we
Yeah.
we meet Zepha, and Zepha guides us towards the first of the Guardians, and there is some uncertainty as to how many Guardians we're going to encounter, but
Thousands or hundreds? What was the initial
Thousands,
guess?
I don't know. It's like 20.
The numbers
ridiculous
just kept
guessing.
changing.
Love it.
Zepha didn't care, so they just made an obscure guess because they're like, well, I know it's more than one, so 20 sounds right.
Sure. 21, somewhere around there.
Sounds like all
Well,
the
he's got a
Guardians
two in
are
it.
using the
That's one of them.
people. It's like not doing anything.
I just think the people just don't know what they're actually there for, and they're like, oh, we should get Guardians. That sounds safe. You know what you're doing.
Yeah.
All
They're
right.
guarding.
They're a guardian.
Ah,
They'll protect
They're
us.
contractually obligated to
Oh,
guard,
exactly.
and other things that we'll get into. But
Yeah.
Kailani, first off.
Yeah. So, of course, because Beardy kind of helps me set up, like, several things like maps and stuff, and music, so he had a vague understanding that there was at least going to be a Heat Miser and a Snow Miser for this game before everyone else. And I'm actually curious, who did you think was going to be the Snow Miser originally?
Initially, I thought it could have either been, like, before we started playing, I would thought it could have either been Zepha, or Kailani, or Paydor.
I think
thought
you
those
guessed
two-
Yaculus once upon a time too.
I did guess Yaculus. That also would have worked pretty well, but it's fine.
So, at what point in your planning for this special did you decide that you wanted to have those two particular musical numbers and to pull in the?
That was how I decided what I wanted to do for the Christmas special.
it
I was
that
like,
year
I want to
without
have musical
Santa Claus
numbers.
business?
I was like, I want to have the Snow Miser and Heat Miser songs in the next special. So
Now
instead of
I'm
new art, I just had new songs.
and I personally, I mean, hands up if you enjoyed those songs because I
Oh my
I
God.
did.
2 hands.
So good.
And
so good.
Such a
here's the
good time.
thing.
So
Also,
good.
hands up if that film was like part of your Christmas heritage in the US, because
Oh,
I'm
no.
curious
Oh,
how many
yeah,
people
right.
are conversant in that.
Yeah, like Rankin and Bass are like my childhood Christmas
All
movies.
that claymation shit.
All that
Okay.
garbage. I love
I've never
it so
seen
much.
any of them all the way through.
Oh,
I actually had no idea
it's
what was
not-
gonna happen because of
it's
that.
so
Like I knew all
funny.
the songs and the characters and the concepts, but I've never seen any. Like you know, we grew up where you watch these would be on TV, and my family would be doing other shit, so I could kind of passively pick up on it. But there was no, I can't just like look it up, and now I can, but I don't care because I'm an adult.
For me,
So
sorry, go ahead. Sorry, go.
So like there was actually a lot of unexpectedness for this for me. I didn't really know where it was going like plot wise. Once we run into the thing, I'd be like, oh, it's that. Oh, I know that guy. I know what that's referencing, but
Yeah.
I don't know where we're gonna go next.
My understanding, or rather the sole way that I'm conversant in the reference of the Snow Miser song is that Mr. Freeze is watching it in that abysmal Batman and Robin film from the 90s with George Clooney.
Oh yeah.
Because
Yeah, I
those
did
Christmas
see
films
that.
aren't part of Christmas in the UK, and they're not like traditions that we picked up on my family when we moved to the US. So I don't know that film, and now it will never be the same because I'll be watching it and I'll be thinking, well, hold on, isn't that supposed to be Kailani? Isn't that supposed to be Pringle?
Well, I mean, if that is what I have changed for you, I feel like I've done a successful DMing then.
Oh, I wasn't complaining. I was saying that's an improvement. So did people, aside from the characters not liking them, did people enjoy the musical numbers and weren't expecting Kailani as a Snow Miser? What about Pringle as the Heat Miser? Was that everyone's first guess?
Yeah.
I was thinking lobby for some reason.
Oh, I mean
Yeah,
that would make sense.
I want to say like the initial like idea for this whole special came up from like a conversation me and Kenny were having at one point about Pringle being the Heat Miser,
Yeah.
Okay.
and like that's just where this all came from.
Yeah, that's where it spawned the Christmas special. I was
It's
just like,
hilarious.
this would be funny.
I was like specifically the idea of Pringle hating singing so much, but yeah, having all these like little elf spirits or whatever just like dancing around, like carrying the rest of the song, and Pringle's just like, oh my god, why am I here?
She showed up.
She's-
I felt like that was kind of obvious, but I didn't. I guess I was just thinking of characters that hadn't gotten used yet
Mm.
for a while.
So, pretty much I kind of have been focusing on Snake Eyes characters being your story NPCs, and I feel like that's going to be more so in Christmas specials than it will be in Halloween specials, where they'll be working alongside you more in Halloween specials, and in Christmas specials I'll use them kind of as like actors to fill a role for you guys.
Much like actual Christmas like things where it's like, oh, this is character from said series, but now they are Tiny Tim.
It's the Muppet Christmas specials.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
That's just what these Christmas specials are going to be, I guess. So
So we
yeah.
Oh, sorry.
you go
ahead.
go ahead. I was running out on steam on how to end that sentence.
When's the Die Hard Christmas special?
Yes.
That might be next year.
Nice.
McLean.
Oh dear.
No, I
There's
have
violence
a
about to
shade
ensue.
I don't know. I would still like to see the like we had an idea, like we had a little conversation after the game yesterday, like last night,
Mhm.
and I think it'd be kind of an odd way to do it, but it would be kind of interesting if you guys were to pull off some sort of like Christmas carol.
Yes.
And I think
Mhm.
the idea was
Oh, yeah.
floated that like I would be the only player and you would all be the DM. I'd be Scrooge the whole time and just be like, fuck, okay.
Outstanding. Love it.
It would be absolutely ridiculous.
You boy, what day is it? Why? It's the rending day. Oh, that I haven't missed it.
There's still time.
Still time.
Jiminy Christmas.
Go and bring me the largest protector you can find.
You're saying Ish is Scrooge? Is that's the
But
Yes.
the
here?
bard
I see
they
it.
have. Wait, the bard that lives in the house at the top of the hill.
That's the one, my boy.
That's the one.
God bless
Comes
us,
together too
everyone.
well.
I have nothing.
This
I have nothing
Ish's
to
last
input.
line. The whole thing is Ish's last line is saying, "God bless us, everyone."
Yes.
Oh.
Oh my goodness.
Why am I here? Who dragged me into this? Why? Gods.
I kind of want that to happen now, but anyway, that's
Yeah.
well above. That's not out of my
I'm
hands.
I'm not gonna reveal what I'm gonna do for next year yet. So
Oh, please don't. Yeah, keep us in suspense.
yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
like
know if I'll
surprises.
do more musical numbers though. This might have been a one-time
Oh.
thing for right now.
They were so good though.
They will be fondly remembered.
Yeah, and luckily I have the audio files forever, so
I want them too. I want to listen to them. Hook me
I'll
up.
send them
I
to
was
you.
planning on releasing them
Yeah.
on YouTube after the fact. I hate it,
Ah.
but I can do it.
They were really good.
I have this vision as well of the snowman, you know, the UK Christmas classic. Only it's Kenny singing "Walking in the Air" and Archie is the snowman. But not that reference might be lost on all of you.
Oh, I
don't
know what
if you
that
watch it
is.
in
No,
the-
I know what the snowman
Oh, you know
is.
the snowman.
Yeah, there was like a beer commercial once upon a time when I was little about it.
Sure, why not?
I think it was beer. It might have been Red Bull, but
Is it Iron Brew by any chance?
I think
But
so.
no, why would they have a Scotch? Anyway, we're getting well off topic.
I know
It's
what
my
it
fault.
is.
This is the time to get off topic.
Yeah, I mean, this is checkpoint. Fuck it.
Talk more about the Scrooge idea.
I mean, yeah, we did say that Marcus would be potentially Chris's present, just because
Yes.
he has the robe,
Rending present.
rending presents. he gives you open
I mean,
presents.
he doesn't have robes
You know what? Rending
anymore.
presents.
He
Vera,
got a
you were
new
the one
quest
rending presents.
outfit when he died.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what? Gertrude didn't deserve that toy, so
Poor
Could have been the
Gertrude.
only one on the naughty list.
Yeah, but that brings us back to where we were in the session. So after we left Pringle, we all went to find the next
Yeah,
the next guardian.
I was gonna allow you to choose between Paydor and Yaculus in that one. Y'all went for the Yaculus route. If you had gone
Mhm.
Paydor first, your checks would have been easier.
Oh.
But Daddy Christmas sounded funner, right?
Well, I was wondering, I was like, I'm saying Father Christmas, and then there was the quick, like, or Daddy Christmas if you feel like it. And I was like, they've got to figure it out from that
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of ism.
Frankly, I just didn't think that. Well, I didn't think that was gonna be a stand-in. I thought that was the one that was just gonna be fucking Father Christmas
yeah.
as the character. I don't know
And I
why.
thought that your description of the tracks, you mentioned that there was like it looked like a stick or something being drugged through the snow. I thought that was your description of like a snake track. So I
No, it
wasn't
was
sure
it
if
was
that
the
another
literal
hint that it was
birch
the
branch
Yaculus.
that Krampus
Right. No, and
holds.
I picked that out later when Krampus fought with a birch branch.
Yeah.
But I wasn't sure if that was supposed to be an indication that it wasn't like a bipedal track or of a serpentine track.
But we had some lovely moments at that particular moment in the story. We had some lovely acts of creativity. Because
Yeah.
we had some repair work that went into the sleigh and some repair work that went into the dead reindeer.
The things
So,
I can't plan for. It was
But
great.
you were, I was going to say you were delighted by those. I think.
Oh yeah, I didn't actually plan you guys to get the sleigh at that point. If you guys had left it, I was gonna have the kids come by at the end of the battle and be like, "Hey, we found this and we brought it to you guys." Just being their
Which was
weird little
adorable.
fucking selves.
That would have been cute, but I
Very
definitely
cute.
love what happened.
But instead, I saw reindeer corpses, and when you play a necromancer, a corpse is just a canvas. So I'm like,
What a
I mean,
word.
nothing to work out of this.
To be honest, like I did I was like when I saw the reindeer corpse on the field, I as a DM, like when I DM my own games, corpses now just kind of I know they're significant. You put them on a map, something is gonna happen to them. Somebody's gonna try and fuck with them one way or another.
Gross.
Bring them back to life. They're gonna eat them. They're gonna necromance them. Whatever they're gonna do.
And we did
All
all
three?
three.
We did
All
all
three.
three. Well, we didn't bring them back to life proper. Like you offered to Emmy.
Yeah,
Sorry.
No, but the zombie necromancy was such a better approach.
Yeah.
Like, I'm really glad that
definitely.
I didn't like bring them back to life because they worked so much better as zombies, especially when it's a free source of consequence, guilt-free, rotting meat for Gerther. I'm like, yeah, ooh.
No, I only animated the bones, not the meat. So that's
Nom nom.
fully edible.
I also love that Vera has come on such a long way when it comes to using stone shape and wood shape, because I thought if the sleigh was going to get built up, fixed up, it was going to be Levette with the engineering checks.
Yeah.
But no, Vera, you got in there with the wood shape, which was awesome.
Yep.
Yeah. We
Good
fixed
time.
the thing, and Levette didn't actually get involved. That was new. That was new for me.
That's a very nice looking jelly cookie.
Nice
Could you
one.
hold that up for the camera, please?
He's missing a leg now.
Nice. Look at
Nice.
that.
But there's a tiny one of him inside.
Just like we all have
Just
a
like-
tiny man inside
Yeah,
of all of
I was going to
us.
say, there's a tiny man in each of us.
Piloting
I have a
trying
big
to
cat.
escape.
Inside
Made
me,
of jam.
personally.
Yes.
But no, that was a really fun part. I was like, I want to have this sleigh.
No, it was so creative. I was like, fuck it. Yeah, do it. This is great. So that's why I rewarded with treats, because it was such a creative thought.
It also let us not have to do a bunch of checks, potentially.
Yeah, you had more survival checks had you not grabbed that, but I was like, fuck it, you creative your shit out of that, so getting rid of those checks. Yeah, you would have had a lot more survival checks through that story otherwise, but I was like, no, I'm good.
I think we only had one.
Yeah, probably. But I was proud of you guys.
Thank you. Yay, we made the DM proud. Yay. Or rather, Xeno and Beardy made
Beardy
the DM
did.
proud.
Oh,
at that moment, but-
there was a lot of fun moments throughout the whole game. I think the only time I got annoyed was during the Krampus battle, where I was like, stop.
Stop philosophizing
we'll
with
talk,
the villain.
We'll talk about that
really?
later.
We will talk about that. We've still got 2 guardians to talk about.
Yeah.
Because we took the sleigh and the presents, and we went to an interesting little non-Christmas town enclave that was, I guess, a little bit more of a pagan Yuletide enclave.
Okay,
Still
you
full of
got
that
that.
spirit, but more wild and more in the spirit of Pador's approach to things, since Pador was indeed who we found there. What did folks think of that?
Well, to begin with, after Pringle as one of the Guardians, I got further and further into, God, I hope Moo doesn't show up as one of the Guardians.
I knew planning Moo was going to be hard, because I was like, when we did the recording for next year's Halloween special, you were like, oh, I'm glad Moo isn't in it, because I would have killed them, and I went, what the fuck? So I knew coming into this, I was like, well, it works too well with the story, but this is going to be rough.
You saw it coming. You had some prep for it.
It's gonna
Yeah.
be rough, buddy.
Well, perhaps it's best that we did hit Pador first versus Moo, since...
Nah, you wouldn't have been
Oh.
able to find Moo without them.
Okay, so we did have it in a particular order.
Mhm.
So did you get what you wanted out of Pador? The sort of the aspect of uncertainty about the identity? Since
Yeah,
Pador
definitely.
was everything, I think was the way Pador described it, that they were
I'm surprised
doing
that
all species and such.
I'm surprised that Karis was so chill, because it looked like a kind of potentially intelligent undead. I was like, oh, I don't know if this is going to go well.
Well, I think she was well aware that this was supposed to be some sort of guardian. So
Yeah.
I don't think that she was going to go in like guns blazing when this was supposed to be a
I don't
potential
know.
ally.
Karis goes in guns blazing, even if she doesn't trust something. She doesn't go guns blazing with Matilda,
Yep,
who
true.
was an
Yeah.
intelligent undead.
Mhm. And also, that whole experience actually kind of influenced a lot of Karis's beliefs about intelligent undead. Because she was under the assumption that all intelligent undead were inherently evil.
Right.
Because they're all like twisted mockeries of mortality, right? Like
Because
they're
she
all,
was fucking raised by
either,
extremely
you know-
evil ones.
Right, but it's like a ghoul is this idea of unquenchable hunger, and a vampire is this idea of unquenchable thirst. But they're both intelligent undead, and that's just sort of the only experiences she ever had with them. And she's like, "Oh no, they're all awful," because they're just there to prey upon the living. And the only undead she was okay with were the ones that were more like tools, like skeletons and zombies. And then she met Matilda, and Matilda was this crazy but otherwise stable creature. And she's
Can
like,
I
"Oh."
pet your schnookums?
I still want the post-credits scene where Betravian gets to
It's
pet
just
the Schnookums
it's just on
and
the
then get
stairs.
beheaded for it.
At the end of his long journey, he can just pet a shadow dog.
Adorable.
Yeah.
Ah.
Off with his
That
head.
Kneeling in front
What?
of the guillotine.
Worth
His
it.
little pet puts his hands behind his back. Thank you.
What a
And
way to
later
die
on-
in Daraham.
Later on, the little corgis are playing with the decapitated head of
Oh my god, it's got darker.
But there was actually a really nice line in there. I can't recall when it was, but there was a subtle dig at Vera for being a little bit too quick on the draw when it came to Karis, and Karis referencing the time that that time that Vera murdered them.
It's
Wait, what?
it's all in the past. At
I
this
missed
point,
that.
Karis brings it up just because
Oh, I
it's
caught
funny.
it.
Oh, damn, I
Yeah,
missed
it
that.
was-
Yeah, what happened?
That was in
Karis
Karis said
ribbed
this.
Vera at a couple points about dying before.
Yeah.
I
It's
mean,
like
that's
the
classic.
kids were like, "Oh, be careful, mom," and she was like, "Oh, it takes more than that to kill me, right, Vera?"
Oh, I didn't hear the right Vera.
Yeah.
I didn't hear it either.
Yeah, it was
I
just
figured
like at
Vera
this
was
point,
just
it's become more of a
ignoring
running
it.
gag for her.
Rip Vera.
Well,
Yep, just bring up trauma.
Bringing
Why
up
not?
trauma. Just like this unending guilt of killing your friend.
Well,
Karis has gotten over it at this point.
Well, yeah, but Vera hasn't. That's
Speaking
so
of Vera,
rude.
and trauma, so we enlist the aid of Paydor, and we go off to find Moo, who of course is great friends with Vera, and they're on wonderful terms, and they could have gone dancing hand in hand, and a love fest. No, that's not what happened. Some violence happened instead. Xeno,
Not much violence happened. Just attempted
not much.
violence.
But you wanted it to, I'm assuming.
Very classic for Vera. Just attempted violence. With not much results.
So, as a DM, how did you approach that moment, Kenny? And Xena, you had that moment with Paydor. You had seen it coming that okay, if the Snake Eyes characters are turning up, then Moo will probably turn up. So you had been prepping for that moment too. We get across the bridge, we see Moo, and yeah.
Well,
What-
first of all, some of my ideas I had to throw out because I was expecting us to find Moo inside of like another castle kind of thing, with also potentially the protecting minions, which probably would have aided in me not harming Moo. But once we were on a cliff, I was like, well, I can't do what I want to do because if I just push them, they'll probably die, and I can't have that happen. So it was never my intention. I would never have killed them because obviously they're a part of the story. You need to have them.
I mean, you could have. I was fully prepared for you killing Moo.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been a bitch to get to the fucking like workshop.
Yeah, I don't think a bunch of other people would have enjoyed that. So
Yeah.
I wasn't
You-
too concerned about it because Archie makes a good mediator. Him being so fucking big and strong means that we can pretty readily justify that
Hi,
he
Archie.
gets involved and stops things.
Yeah,
Which
the only-
I'm sure has definitely only improved Moo's opinion of him.
Hello,
the only
Moo.
thing.
It
The only
is good to
stronger
see you
reaction-
again.
The only stronger reaction to Moo from the one from Vera was the one from Archie, which was an adorable moment and a really nice counterpoint to Vera's simmering loathing.
Well, the thing is, like, Moo just doesn't remember any of you guys really from the last time. Because when we had the murder mystery, I think Karis and Vera and Archie were the only ones that really made, like, a big enough dent in their brain to be like, I can remember these people. Karis is really smart and helped out, and Vera's the worst, so... because
I do want to say that.
just because alchemy is easy, and you have to read all these books to figure it out,
Well,
Who's the
feeling
stupid one?
mutual.
You're such an imbecile. I can't even work with this.
I'm glad that it didn't escalate to Moo getting killed off and the game kind of going sideways and becoming more difficult. But I actually am also glad that Xeno, you did play Vera as having that strong a reaction, because it grounded it in obviously what we've gone through, and it was very much true to Vera's character.
Because literally, like, that part of our campaign has really changed Vera in literally making them more hateful of that entire people.
Yep.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to work around when you have a dark elf character.
I'd also like to mention that Petravian did not back Vera up at all, and remember that for the next Christmas special.
So,
Put that in the back of your sack.
Put that in the back of your sack.
so there was
Petravian.
one thing that I noticed that was kind of nice, and that was that when you described what Moo was holding,
Mm-hmm.
Moo was holding, if I'm not mistaken, Moo was holding the Fate Binder.
They are holding a fate binder, yes.
So,
Which is an item that has not been aired yet, but it's
Right.
very significant to their story.
very much
Okay.
so. Yeah, it's very
Okay.
central to Moo's journey. So it's
I
very
wasn't-
interesting that bled into the special. So I like that.
Thank you.
I'm glad that you mentioned that and that you said that it wasn't something that had aired yet, because I was kind of thinking in that moment, is this something I'm supposed to know? Is this like
Nah,
a
I mean,
Pathfinder
more-
thing that everyone knows?
More Snake Eyes episodes would have aired by now if we weren't finishing up all the Check Please ones that we had podcasted. So as soon as those are done, I can just work on the Snake Eyes ones. And I'm so excited because I miss it so much. It's so much easier to edit than Check Please.
But,
So
I mean, much love and appreciation to you and to Xeno and to Birity for all of the audio and video editing that you have done to bring us the edited podcasts. Although I am also glad that we are doing things live now. There is a certain
oh yeah.
energy to the live stuff that makes it
Hmm.
just bring something new to it, something special to it.
Yeah, and I mean, it certainly, and I've said this before, but I feel like it certainly kicked my butt into gear when it comes to like keeping on the story moving forward and keeping on track and making sure that I'm prepped properly for the games. Just
Hmm.
having that live energy has really sort of forced me to elevate my game.
Yeah,
I agree.
I was very nervous
From a-
going into this one being my first live one DMing because I felt very confident doing recorded ones. I was very nervous doing this one because I was like, it's my first time live. Oh my god, I'm a monster.
Oh, also, could we also mention during the Moo part, the when Vera got the wrong pronoun? Oh,
It's they actually.
sorry.
Thank you.
Even monster, as was pointed out in the chat, even monsters deserve to have their pronouns. Even slaving bigots, or not even bigots, but slaving, unquestioning slavers. I don't know the best way of describing Moo.
I mean, I can say that Moo's never owned a slave.
They just live in the culture.
Yeah, it's. I mean,
Maybe
their
for
family
like a few
does.
minutes by accident.
Yeah. If anything,
I-
Marcus, I guess.
I guess
Mhm.
Bernie kind of counts for like a few hot minutes.
I mean, they never owned him though.
Yeah, no, not really.
Yeah, that was kind of a Sylvek and
I mean, they're.
My
The-
God, you remember their names?
yeah.
Ida.
Holy
Ida,
shit!
yeah.
I mean, because
Feel like
That's
They're-
awesome.
their family owned it and they like interacted with the slaves in their family home.
They
so-
probably didn't though. That's the
because they're just in
thing.
the.
They're just like, I don't like whatever this is. Goodbye. The most they interacted with was Sasho before they got their job as a librarian.
Mhm.
They're not slaves. They're just prisoners with jobs. Isn't that the?
They don't even see them though as people, but like not in that sense.
doesn't
because-
make it better.
I know
Kenny.
they don't see most people as people. That's the thing.
Oof.
Moo is highly neurodivergent.
Say,
Which I love actually about
Moo,
Moo. 'cause
Moo
it-
has a whole different frame of living life in.
So we had our little encounter with Moo,
Hmm.
which went in some interesting directions.
Yeah.
And then we made our way with the four guardians to find the last two of them.
Yeah,
Um,
which had been captured.
who had been captured? Yes. What? But first we found in the workshop two very nice bathrooms. points which were in there as
Dang it.
what, an inside joke? I'm not entirely clear still on why we had
So,
two
in the
bathrooms
first
in there.
special I ever did, which was the Murder Mystery Mansion,
Hmm.
Xeno would not stop about asking me where the bathroom was on the maps. And I don't know why it was, but now I'm like so paranoid about maps since then that I'm like, I have to make sure there is like a bathroom in places now, so that Xeno can never be like, where's the
I can never be
bathroom?
caught off guard ever again.
Yes, I can
You
never.
can never hurt me.
Oh, so you're approaching me. I can't have it happen again. That's why Riz's Bardo has bathrooms. That's specifically why they have bathrooms in that Bardo. Not
Had we
happening.
explored the tavern in Christmastown more, or Paydor's Enclave, would we have found bathrooms
There
in
is
there as well?
bathrooms in there. The Christmastown Inn has bathrooms. They all have bathrooms in case you ever wanted to like explore. Though there was
I
a
do
whole
now.
nother map to the upstairs of that fucking tavern that Paydor was in just in case.
I want to
I
explore that now. I at least want to
love
get maps
that.
for the wiki.
Love that Xeno scared you into improving the plumbing technology of this world.
I can't deal with it.
Outstanding.
I can't have that come up and just be harassed about it. And I'm like, I'm sorry, just maps exist and they don't need bathrooms all the time. And now they do.
You can always just shit in a bucket
Fuck
outside.
you.
Like, yeah, I wouldn't honestly expect in universe for there to be bathrooms everywhere.
I'm
But
just
there
glad that
are.
we didn't have to roleplay out, any use of them. I'm just glad that we had that and we could
Petravian
continue
was
on
this
without.
close.
I would have
Taking a-
had to have
Taking
had
a
words with
hot
Skrewy over
Stevie
that.
shit.
Oh my god.
God damn it, let's not do the scatological humor. Lowest form of humor.
But universal.
That is true, sadly.
Lowest
Doesn't
form is bottom of the pyramid. Everyone gets it.
Everyone
say
gets
anything good about our species. But anyway, we make it past the bathrooms of eternal woe, or they would have been if Petravian had got to them, and we get into the big main hall where we have people making really poorly made soldiers and trains
Just toys.
and
Just toys in general.
These toy
Not for
soldiers are
Gertrude.
poorly crafted and they're
Is this
made
where
of
all the
inferior
gnomes
wood.
went? This is what
Yeah,
happened
I was
to
gonna
all the
say.
gnomes.
Sure, this is definitely
Yeah.
where all the gnomes in the
This is
steam
where,
went.
yes.
They
yep.
definitely didn't die.
But
They
that was
all-
also a lovely little yeah.
There was a tongue-in-cheek from Zepha, I think, about, oh, I didn't know you
Yeah.
guys still existed.
Yeah. Yeah,
Hey,
tries
Grem,
to
what
ignore
did
that
you make
one.
of that? No, you didn't want to engage with that,
No.
Well, because
Beardy,
No comment.
Zeno.
Zepha said that they've never seen a gnome before,
Mm-hmm.
but there's like
Yeah.
50 of them in this one building.
It was weird. Never seen him before.
The gnomes, instead of like the farm, like pets, they have the factory. Like, oh, they all went off to the factory to get jobs.
Yeah, exactly.
Anytime they see a gnome like in Christmastown, like, oh, you're out of place, and they just throw them into the Santa's
Wow.
workshop.
Wow, that
You're
is
supposed to
dark.
be over
I mean,
here.
it wasn't just gnomes, it was dwarves
It's
and
also halflings and
too.
dwarves. Yeah, they're just
Yeah.
racist against short people.
Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah.
And so
they're
we
the easiest
we
to manipulate.
It's, the mental image of Santa's dwarves is, for whatever reason, really funny to me. Like the idea of having Santa's elves and there's a bunch of dwarves mixed in with fucking elves,
and really pissed off about being dressed as an elf.
but also making the best toys.
Because they're swords.
Ah. So we found the big bad, and we set about engaging them
roasting you.
in learned philosophy on the nature of good and
I mean,
evil,
I'm
naughty
done.
and nice.
I feel is entirely on brand. Like when
I
I,
think
so.
when I first made Karis to play as a character in a whole different group with a different DM, what I found myself doing in every situation was that Karis would just debate a lot of villains, a lot of the bosses in that campaign. Karis would just try to engage with philosophically, and I actually managed to turn a significant number of the bad guys into allies because of that. Like, Karis's diplomacy was so high, and like she would offer better deals than the next higher tier villain, that she would keep turning people's henchmen against them. So it's something that had worked for her in the past in a different universe. So I was like, fuck it, this is her bread and butter.
I love
Let's
that
try
whole
it.
segment.
See how
I'm
it
kind of
goes.
surprised to hear or to see that you're like somewhat irritated about out of character, Kenny, because I was impressed that you played along the whole thing. Like a lot of DMs would have just like made him be like, enough, fight happens, roll
Mhm.
initiative. And the fact that you actually engaged in the debate was so fun. It was so
I
funny.
hated every moment of
Oh
it.
my god,
Great.
it was
It was
so
really
funny
good.
It was
having
great.
this character, like having our villain be like, I'm not a bad guy, I just think everyone should suffer, and then to play the hero who says, I agree,
Yeah,
was just such a fun dynamic that I would
Like,
not
yeah.
get anywhere else.
we
I
agree
love
with you,
Brevet's
Krampus. Let's talk this
misery.
out.
Agreeing with it. It's like, yep, people should suffer. Life is
People-
suffering.
Yeah.
Thanks,
people do
Levette. Merry Christmas, Levette.
Yeah, it was really hard to play along with that because I was like, I don't even know how to respond to this. I don't know if I could actually respond to someone just telling me that out of the blue. I'd be so taken aback. I'd be like, stop. So
Yeah, and with
playing
Karen's
along
great.
with it was very, very
Yeah.
hard. So I was just dying the entire time because I'm like, this is so
Well, you did a
embarrassing for
fantastic
me.
job.
Yeah,
I
no,
was
you did wonderful. Yeah.
That was
Okay.
so good.
maybe my favorite part of the session. So I'm
It
sorry
was
if you
straight up.
suffered through it, but it
Oh.
was just so funny.
Like, my poker face was absolutely gone in that moment. Like, I was like, I don't know how to react.
I thought that was
to this.
completely in character. Which made the character feel like I was saying. I mean, Krampus could have just been a evil, angry guy who will only fight because everyone's disagreeing with him,
Mhm.
and to actually like be, irritated what seemed like in character, like, all right, fine, what do you want?
Which, yeah,
Was so good.
I totally agree. And we didn't get a whole lot of chance to like have the villain be built up because
Mhm.
obviously it was a surprise. And the fact that it was Krampus and that you were drawing on that particular like Christmas tradition as
Mhm.
well was also, I thought, a really nice touch. I love that you drew in Krampus. I think we were all kind of excited. I know
Mhm.
Skrewy was absolutely like losing it over the fact it was
Well,
Krampus.
the chat called it right away from like the details back when we found the sleigh. They're like, "Oh, it's Krampus," and I was like, just trying to keep it cool, not
No.
say anything.
I thought they were saying that because they thought that
They thought
Pador
Pador was Krampus first. This is true,
Right.
but they were saying I think it's Krampus like early on, and I was like, don't look at the chat. No one look at the chat.
I
mean-
but I totally agree. The fact that we got that little bit of moral discussion with Krampus fleshed them out and their motivations
Yeah.
before we had to start kicking the crap out of them.
Yeah. And if it was only like if only Krampus could have tweaked his methodology, it would have been fine. You know.
Mhm. Yeah,
Just
that's
had to
the
work
thing.
out.
We would have gone
Yeah.
and did his bidding and like made everyone miserable for an evening just to smooth things out if it didn't involve like physically harming people.
Yeah.
That would have
or
set up
just
next
like
year's
a
Christmas
blanket
special.
punishment to everyone. It's like you got to have some metric for this. You know.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been fascinating to come back in another 200 years and, instead of the heroes, now they're suddenly the fallen heroes, the villains in the history books.
Who
Yeah.
began
We
the dark
loved
reign
them
of the
and they
Krampus.
punished
Yeah.
us.
I was really on the fence about having Levette come back and just tell sad, like depressing stories. Just basically tell the story of Campaign 1 to the people of Christmas Town. From her perspective.
Oh, God.
They all just dump out their hot cocoa and go home.
Like cut to a
Oh,
scene of everyone
okay.
standing in a circle with worried looks on their faces, and she's like, "Yeah, so we went and met up with my mom, and then she killed my dog, and
She killed my dog.
and ruined my mom's life, and then my mom killed my dad, and that was basically how it went."
That's the greatest day of day.
Kenny, I would like to ask you to do the Krampus voice just one more time. 'Cause
Oh
it was,
God,
It was fantastic.
was it? I felt I was cringing at myself the entire time.
No, it was
I
wonderful.
thought it was
That's good.
fantastic.
I gotta remember what it is. Oh.
Well, I'm putting you on the spot.
Someone
I'm
prompt
sorry,
me.
Kenny.
Someone prompt me. I need to talk.
Like Krampus.
You are naughty.
Shaggy.
Shaggy, you are naughty.
Like I gotta get out of here.
No, you will be staying. I'm just cringing at myself the entire
I
time
love-
as I was
I-
doing the voice.
Yeah,
I was
it
just
was-
like,
I thought it was perfect. It was absolutely
Yeah.
perfect.
Hmm.
I was like, I don't have a voice mod like Beardy, so I can't like improve my voice in any way, and I'm just like, this is gonna hurt me more than it hurts everyone else.
Which works for, well, yeah, that line works for Krampus and punishing people. But Krampus made the mistake of hitting Archie, and it was all downhill from there.
He gave Archie a beating.
Mistaken on a lot of levels.
You
Well,
birch
I
Archie
thought
and
I did too
gnome.
much for Krampus because I had his AC at 28, and I was like, man, this might be too high for everyone. And then I saw Archie's, and I was like, fuck you.
Yeah. Now you know how it's
I
like.
know. Your dawning moment there, and I'm just like, I'm sorry to everybody. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
Marvel.
you try to combat balance something, and then Archie shows up, and it's like, well, fuck.
Yeah.
But all those damn saves, the save DC was so high, I couldn't, like,
Yeah, he
the
has like
spells
a
I
plus
tried,
15 to everything.
yeah, the Fortitude save roll was done, the Will save, and the reflex, like, all 3 saves that my
Yeah.
spells would have kicked in.
I was
all-
personally thankful
yeah.
for that because I think it would have ended too quick otherwise.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
it was-
think it
it was a
ended too
good
quick
fight.
either way.
Yeah, I
Also-
agree. I probably made the Halloween fight a little more extreme than I did with this one, and I do kind of
Oh
regret
yeah, but
that.
it should be
But I
because
feel
it's
like
a
that's-
Halloween fight,
that's on
not a
brand.
Christmas fight.
Yeah, I feel like that's on brand, though, because the Christmas game is always supposed to be a little more lighthearted and fun.
If
and
it were
silly.
scary, then it would have
Yeah.
been.
Yeah.
Or if it were that hard, it would have been scary. Yeah.
If anything, I would have said make his attack scarier. Like, 'cause he has like this giant tree branch.
Yeah.
It's like hit him across
I don't
the
know.
room.
Look, I had already been
I
like,
thought it was perfect because it was like he beats people with a tree branch. That sounds scary, but we're like seasoned adventurers, so we run up and he hits the elk with a branch, and it's like, yeah, that worked about as well as I would expect.
Yeah, it's like, no one cares about the elk anyway.
Aw.
Except
Aw.
Petravian, poor Petravian.
well, I mean, it
The
is
elk
his
who's
pet.
The
The-
sorry, Screwy, chains of light will never work.
Yeah.
Well, Hold Monster will never work either, right? We've
Yeah,
discovered that
correct.
again.
If I had buffed it, it would have. I only needed one more buff on it, and it would have worked.
Which, first of all, I adore, like teammate on teammate, like stopping people from doing things, like with hold monster and stuff. I love that like cliche.
It's worked for me
Yeah.
once on Chisel, but that's it.
I'm very. I mean, not very. I'm slightly glad it didn't work. There was a little bit of me. I was like, all right, Chains of Light's one thing. That's a different spell. Fucking, Hold Monster hasn't worked for me. Doesn't work for anyone else. I've had it
Right.
longer.
Also, I love that Screwy's in the chat. It's like, Hex, fucking excuse me about our love or lack thereof for Chisel. Poor Chisel.
Oh, she's a good boy.
Poor
I
Chisel, he
mean,
was sickening for it
that's
the
true.
entire game.
Also,
getting
side-
more and more ill.
Yeah.
No, Kenny, you did a great job with Chisel.
Did
gotta
I?
say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it made him very endearing.
Especially getting inside the.
Yeah.
Just
It's so
skittering
good.
all over the place.
Well,
Well-
we'll
I just figured if you're gonna call something and it doesn't have that convenient like roll up into a ball, get into the area thing, I was like, well, how's a tree or how's a how's a deer gonna get through a doorway like this when he has like very large antlers? He's always described as like being fairly majestic looking, so I'm like, how do I get him into a space that makes sense? So I was thinking of like a dog with a stick. Trying to get to a place really fast and then failing incredibly well.
I honestly thought he was going to come crashing through the wall like Kool-Aid Man style
Yeah,
with
I was
the
about to-
sleigh
yeah.
behind him. Like, I also
Um,
was quite worried that the other dwarves and gnomes and folks would also join in the fight.
No,
Oh,
they,
yeah.
they just scattered, I think.
I
I,
was
don't know
ready
if I
to
said
just
it, I couldn't
annihilate them with
remember.
little tiny soldiers if they came closer.
No, I
Which-
only really planned you to fight Krampus. So,
The
Oh, also.
Creeping Doom that I used with the little toy soldiers, I kind of want to say as a side note, I actually had planned them on being little toy soldiers aside from this Christmas special. I was like, when I took the spell, I thought, oh, what would be Levette themed? I thought it'd probably be a lot more organized than bugs, something more like structural. But I cast the spell because I was like, I literally have a spell that I'm planning on flavoring as little toy soldiers. It's too perfect for this whole setup. It didn't really feel like the right one to use, but I just had to for theming.
And Xeno, you had something.
I can't remember it.
No, no.
Sorry.
It's all good.
Well, if it comes back to you. So
I
we.
had fun describing the toy soldiers, at least. I When you told me about them, I was like, ooh, this will be fun to describe.
Yeah, I was hoping so. Yeah, exactly.
But also,
There was some really good spice on stuff. Sorry, Xeno, go ahead.
It's been a while since we've done combat, so I've kind of forgotten a few of the mechanics that I have. So I'm like, I can't remember what we do for
Legit,
damage.
I would not have cared. I was like, if you fucking just tell me you have a spell, I wasn't gonna look that hard into it. I was just like, just tell me what it is.
Well, also right now we're doing a kind of a different take on Creeping Doom because it does technically worse than my feckin' familiar. And that's kind of weird to then have a... It's a 7th level spell, right?
I think so.
That does worse than my 1st level.
So...
I couldn't remember like the stacking nature that we did. Because it was like diminishing returns for the stacking.
Well, we defeat Krampus.
He did. For
He
now.
did. For
No,
now.
he's still talking.
Ooh. There was that spooky suggestion that he might be back. Oh dear.
Naughty.
No.
He'll return in Doctor Strange.
No.
Multiverse of...
Matt.
The Naughtyverse.
Oh, well played. The Naughtyverse. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I think it is the continuity that you're weaving between holiday specials is the most ambitious crossover since.
when our MCU better.
When our Marvel Cinematic Universe
Yes.
is better than
Well,
Marvel's.
saying CP Cinematic Universe sounds weird, so.
CPCU? That sounds like an organization that throws you in
Or
a
just
van.
like a computer part.
Yeah, that, yeah.
So while we were fighting Krampus,
Yeah.
some of the other Guardians, some of the other Check Please characters were rescuing Karis and Yoculus, the last two Guardians, the last two Check Please, beg
Lavi.
your pardon, Snake Eyes. I beg your pardon, Lavi and Yoculus were being rescued. And we then had some very nice moments between Karis and Yoculus, which isn't the pairing that I had like...
I mean, they
Has
did
that pairing
sleep
been-
together in the Murder Mystery
Yeah.
Mansion.
Okay, I missed that part. I'm sorry.
Karis didn't miss that. I mean,
No.
Karis did miss that.
Yeah.
If that tracks. Anyway, yeah, she saw Yoculus chained up and is like, nope, I gotta fix that shit.
Fuck this.
Well, it was a
I'm
nice
taking care of that.
Yeah. It's like, this is a big fight. I'm gonna let everyone else handle that. I'm gonna go over there and make sure that he's okay.
I
'Cause
thought
he
that was a
injured
good
and
call because I
chained
thought
up.
the fight was getting kind of crowded, and I was like, "Oh yeah, someone should do that."
And
Yeah.
also, fucking Karis's abilities are...
They're broken AF, so I was
Yeah,
like,
I
all right,
wasn't-
I'm
I
glad you're
wasn't
taking
gonna-
yourself out of here because I
Yeah,
have to deal with
I
Archie
didn't
right
need-
now.
I didn't need to be
Yeah.
in that fight.
And it's actually a really good point. The fight duration might have been adversely impacted by Karis's presence. And actually,
I
I'm
would
glad
have
that you...
been like less likely to let as much HP go down for him because my secret to like the boss fights I've all done is just I have a vague number that I have in my head and I will take your numbers and I'll kind of whittle it down in my weird version of math, but I'm not actually doing real math the entire time.
That seems a nicer way of doing it. That accounts for...
Kind of like,
Mhm.
oh, that's about like that much.
I'm like, yeah, that feels like that would be around there. So I just kind of go with how everyone's mood is. And if it seems like you're excited to kill something, I'm like, all right, he's starting to look bad. So,
That was... I mean, this is like learning experience for me because Grem, you pointed out that you were glad that my attacks only did the half damage, that the will saves and such were so high. And that's a really good point because I had been thinking just in terms of, well, I'm going to bust out the big spells and try and do as much damage as possible. But at the same time, what I hadn't considered was the fact that we want the fight to not be done instantly. So that's a good...
Yeah.
That's a good thing for me to keep in mind in future. I'm still learning. Yay!
And I was considering using my new spell, but I want to save it for...
check
like-
please.
Yeah, just to ruin some low-level NPC's day.
Oh,
will
wow.
say,
Wow.
I think Beardy probably structures the fights so that they're designed with the intention of us trying to power through it as fast as possible, more so.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't know.
mine is based off of just because it's a special, I kind of have to railroad you guys a lot more than we are in the main campaign. So that's why I do percentages, because I'm like, this is about having more fun than rather us being like, we got to get through this obstacle. So,
I'm glad you were flexible in that way. So,
I mean, I like, from my own experience, when I saw us all fighting one dude, I was like, this is going to get one-sided real fast. Like, action economy is just on our side too hard.
He held his own
So
though for a good
I had that in
5 rounds.
mind. That said, it's never usually an issue for me to worry about like pacing because it takes me 3 rounds to get my chain gun wound up to begin with. But yeah, I was saying that I was like, oh boy, are we gonna just turn him into a pancake in like 3 minutes?
Well, speaking of guns, literal and figurative, we had a wonderful Chekhov's gun of Chisel, who has been sickening for a cold all of this episode and getting a nose increasingly red, and then suddenly brightened up because yay, we've got Chisel
The
as a
magic of
Rudolph.
Christmas.
When did that occur to you, Kenny? When did you decide you wanted to do that?
So when I was deciding on having the Heat Miser, Cold Miser songs to the story, because I was loosely basing this off of The Year Without Santa Claus, in that story there is a reindeer that gets really sick, and it's too hot in the area, and that's why I can't like work out and fly, because these two elves are taking over Christmas for Santa while he's on break. And I kind of took that idea of having the sick reindeer, and I wanted to incorporate another claymation of Rudolph, because one, we have an elk. It's like the perfect time to be able to incorporate Rudolph into our party in some way for a Christmas special. So that's kind of along the lines of where I went, where I was kind of taking several forms of Christmas specials and incorporating it into this new narrative.
Yeah.
Well, I think it worked brilliantly. Sorry, Grem, you were saying?
Well, when Petrus showed up in season 1 and he had a elk as his mount, a reindeer, it was kind of like this was foretold in that moment that at some point that elk would be involved in a Christmas special as a reindeer stand-in. So
yeah, I was actually nervous that Skrewy wasn't actually gonna be at our Christmas special this year, because there's some like family stuff happening. So I was like, oh no, if Skrewy's not gonna make it for this year, it's not gonna have the same effect because I have this all planned. So I'm really happy that Skrewy was able to make it.
I'm happy too, because I mean, Skrewy ends up. We give Skrewy a fair amount of good-natured grief, and especially Chisel, who we all kind of give Skrewy some good-natured grief about as well. So the fact that Chisel got to have that moment to literally shine, that payoff of being Rudolph, that was a nice gift. I think that was a nice.
Well,
gift
yeah,
to
I
Skrewy.
mean, a lot of these times where it comes to these stories, I want to include stories or moments for you all to be able to just enjoy a section of something. Like with the first Murder Mystery Mansion, I wanted you all to be able to interact as your characters with the Snake Eyes crew, because I thought, oh, this would be a really fun thing for everyone. So of course I'd introduce them into the story. I'd also have Soul in there because everyone's already missing Soul. It's perfect. And then having another character show up for the second Halloween special, which you'll see again, and that was kind of for a treat for Beardy, being like, thank you for being an awesome DM. I hope your character that we have for that season enjoys that. It's also a treat for everyone to get to experience this person. And you'll all learn about that eventually. And this one, I was like, all right, I wanna give a treat to everyone. I want to have fun songs and show tunes, and I want to have this very like wonderful, successful feeling, because Skrewy loves Christmas. I hate Christmas. It's like my least favorite holiday.
I was gonna say, I feel like there'd be a lot missing if Skrewy misses a Christmas one,
I
because
know.
he is
Christmas
the one
special.
who has the whimsy and absolute adoration for Christmas. That
I mean,
he
literally
needs.
the hat.
Yeah.
it would be a very
Yeah.
sardonic special if without him. Very very tongue-in-cheek and facetious the whole way through, I think.
Like, look at Vera. Vera's just like Scrooge and hates Christmas. That's the entire just piece of shit. Like that's the entire bit. But we need to have Petravian there to be like, oh my
Yeah.
The
god, this
joy
is
of
magical.
Christmas.
He's got to balance out all of our sour asses.
Yeah. So it was completely necessary for him to be a part of this story, especially because I was like, I have to reward this idea. And I was so nervous he wasn't gonna be there or be able to do it. So I was
It
really
was a
happy.
Christmas miracle that
It
it
was
all
a
worked
Christmas
out.
miracle.
I really enjoyed getting to explore. I mean, I don't want to talk too much about it, but having not done a Christmas special before, it was really fun to get to put Curler in that environment and decide that actually they would be kind of getting behind the whole Christmas idea, and especially the hot cocoa. But
The hot cocoa.
Oh, it was just fun to play around, and you did set a Christmas like mood very beautifully with the different traditions that you brought in, like bringing in Krampus, like bringing in the more pagan stuff through Paydor, like bringing in the more obvious Christmas tropes through Christmas Town. And it's also interesting what you did at the end with the town, not thinking that they would get to have their Christmas, but then rediscovering the spirit of Christmas, the true meaning of it, just as Krampus had kind of wanted.
Exactly.
They came to it in their own way, without punishment being needed.
And that was all very much so planned ahead of time. I was like, I want this to have this very like uplifting traditional feel that a lot of movies kind of instilled in us as children as we got to watch them and actually feel happiness back then. I'm sorry, that sounded really bad.
That's about right.
Yeah, it's kind of how I feel about Christmas. That's why I dislike it so much, is that I don't feel joy from it.
You don't get the same
kind
of thing.
No.
Yeah.
It feels very staged, especially for my family personally. So, I enjoy Christmases so much more thanks to having Xeno with me. He made Christmas fun again. So, I'm slowly developing more of a indifference to Christmas. Where I'm like, oh, I kind of like the decorations again. I still don't like the family part of it all, but I really tried to gain whatever speck I still had in myself of enjoying it when I was small to put it into the special.
Yeah, we really got to start watching Christmas movies again.
Yeah.
I did think that came through a little bit and was slightly tragic in that Riz didn't get any taste of childhood in the hot cocoa.
They don't have that, so it's just empty calories.
I just wanted to hug Riz in that moment. Poor Riz.
But the kids got a great present for Christmas.
Yes,
from
the other
Karis.
Chekhov's gun that fired that was fantastic.
It wasn't
Birdie.
my doing at all.
Well done.
Look, when your mom is a necromancer, you probably kind of expect gifts like this.
I mean,
Oh,
they
yeah.
seem to be good at expecting the unexpected to begin with.
And
They're
he was so
weird.
adorably excited.
But no,
They're the best kids.
it took me a second, like when you were explaining it, and I was like, how would they react? And I'm like, of course they'd be overjoyed. It's their mom. They
Yeah.
love every aspect of Karis that there is.
It's a gift that their mum made for them.
Because I still live by a thought process that to a child, their parent is God. Like, they don't really believe in God, they believe in their parents.
I mean, for those two, it's a little closer to true than it is for most.
Yeah.
But
Godling, God, angel,
yeah, but Karis is the person who provides for them, who takes care of them, and anything Karis does is the most magical and wonderful thing to them. So of course they'd be overjoyed with it. They don't see things the same way as other kids do for just being the way they are in general, but I think also because Karis is raising them. They don't have the same worries about necromancy like other people would. They're very much so like, go with the flow. I don't like what Riz's deal is, but we're pretty chill otherwise.
Which is a good message. That's a good Christmas message as well.
Karis is a good mom.
Also, I need Vera to give them like an enchanted weapon I find.
Oh my god, do you
just-
know how excited they'd be?
Oh yeah, that's what Vera is the like kind of shitty but awesome aunt that's like doesn't want to be with them but sometimes gives cool gifts.
I mean, Marculus has Symphonia's wit, so he does have an enchanted weapon, but Selena doesn't, so have fun with that.
Or is
Like,
that
don't
aunt
show
who
your mom.
shows up at Christmas one year, doesn't like talk to any of the adults, everyone's like mad at her for some reason, and just pulls out like an ammo box with like a World War II gun in it, and it's like, this is yours. This is what you got.
Merry Christmas.
I killed a man with this.
This is the coolest
Whoa!
And then reanimated him in Karis'
Yeah.
case. So, I mean, that's all I've got by way of points to talk about. So unless folks have things that they want to add, we can maybe just talk about overall impressions and thoughts on how it went. And again, telling Keni what a kick-ass job they did in all regards,
Oh, God.
from Krampus'
Yeah.
voice to everything else.
Fucking fantastic.
Right?
I still have too much trouble with Kailani's voice personally. Like, I was like getting into it, and I was like, oh, where the fuck is this voice? I don't know.
worry. All
Go
you
on,
have to do
Rice.
is have Kailani say her own name, or sorry, their own name in character, and you get back into
I
it. It's just,
know. It's a
pronouncing
weird
the
thing.
name Kailani.
Hello
Kalani.
there,
you
my
back
name's
in.
Kailani. How you doing today? That is
There
just
you
my
go.
phrase that I do to get into the voice, but it was like, oh, I gotta get into just character. And I looked at myself off to the side. I think you can see in the recording where I go, do I mumble this to myself?
Hey.
And it started out as Pringle. I'm gonna be honest, the voice started out as Pringle originally, and I was like dying on the inside.
How you learn new accents is by getting a phrase down and practicing it
Mhm.
until it feels right.
It's true.
You did fantastically, and I think we all had a fantastic time.
Singing in
dare say.
accents is weird.
Yeah.
So
Singing is weird to begin with.
Pringle is a much easier range for me to sing in, though, so I was like, alright, I can do this. And then I went to Kailani and I was like, oh, this is gonna be weird.
So
Oh,
it turned out well.
that's good. That's good.
We all had a good time. Did you have a good time overall?
I did
Nervousness aside.
overall, yes. I was very anxious doing it, though, like getting up to it. I get very much so in my head about these specials because I want them to be what they are, special. So it's very hard, not exactly for me to like do the actual thing, but like coming up to it and having all these ideas and being like, I gotta write this down. I gotta make sure I have all these ideas out because if I don't, I will forget it.
And
So
you're
I
anxious
have
because you care about doing a
several
good job.
notes throughout my guide for myself that was like, make sure to note that Chisel is sneezing. Because I was like, I'm gonna forget this if I don't put these notes in for myself, because like this is an important thing to get to the end for me. So I'm very happy that you guys had fun. I think you were very creative in some instances that I didn't expect, which was more fun for me because I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't plan for this, yay.
And that's the joy of being a DM. It's the constant surprise of the creativity of your players.
Yeah.
Definitely the best part.
So I don't think I'd ever want to be like a full-time DM, but I do feel very comfortable in being the specials person. I don't know how I would plan out a campaign. I mean, maybe like in 20 years one day, Beardy will be like, all right, Kenny, it's your turn.
All right, kid. We just wrapped up season 14. How about you take a crack at 15, eh?
You got it.
I love it.
I'll brush off one of my old characters.
So different since we lost Kyle in the war.
Oh my goodness. That's a great note to leave it on. I
Yeah.
think so.
We lost Xeno in the Maple Wars against Canada.
Yeah.
Against fucking Canada.
It was a horrible death. Just drowned
Yeah.
in maple syrup.
Oh my.
The last
Final
words were,
thoughts?
"It should have been mine."
Final
But-
thoughts from anyone? Final advice for the new year? Final teasing of future developments in Snake Eyes or Check Please?
I missed the. I feel like Vera should have said snake instead of Yaculus. Because I don't think
Ooh.
Vera would have remembered Yaculus's name.
Hmm.
And it's always funny every time you're like, you can't say that. It's like, what?
Yeah.
It's a snake.
Don't call the Serpente snakes and don't call harpies birds.
Also, I'm sad I didn't get the opportunity to call Lavi a bird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't really let Lavi be very much in the special, unfortunately.
Oh, because of stuff that's happening.
Because stuff that's actually happening in their current time that I took them from. And it's very rough because I'm like, oh, I can't really use this character, but I want to still include them in some way. So that's why Yaculus is taking care of them specifically.
And why
Gotcha.
Lavi was not described at all.
Correct.
Interesting. Well, that definitely teases stuff for future developments in Snake Eyes. Probably that
Shit
aren't.
gets rough, fam.
Yeah,
you've-
Lavi has a bad time.
Yeah.
You've warned me, and my heart still isn't going to be ready for it when it
The
happens.
thing is, I think Lavi just keeps having a bad time at some point. It's just like,
Yeah, it doesn't really get
doesn't-
better for
it doesn't really get better.
Yeah, get with it. Get with the party.
And thank you very much, so Dancing Mop, for the compliments. I really do
Yes.
appreciate it.
It was an incredibly cute special. So thank you, Keni. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Skrewy, who again couldn't be with us today. But thank you for Chisel and for all of your wonderful Christmas spirit that made the rest of us more in the Christmas spirit.
Yeah.
And thanks for everyone here right now, and to watch the special.
Yes.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah, the video itself will be releasing on Monday, just to get it out right away so that it can still stay in the Christmassy enough season. So we'll be doing that. I also want to note that we will not be streaming next weekend due to family things. That's the reason Skrewy's not here this weekend. So we're actually going to take a little bit of a pause, but we should be back, as far as we know, that is not a calendar, on the 15th. We should be back on the 15th, back to our normal game and schedule, back to Golgothia.
Woo!
Back
And
to
the smell.
back to toxic air and
The fart
sad
gas.
Merry
terrain.
Christmas!
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas!
Merry Ithmith.
Merry Smith.
So we, if we get an episode done in time of the older stuff, I might air it on that day. If not, it'll be on a Wednesday like before. So we just want to let you all know that we love you very much. We look forward to another wonderful year of rolling with you guys. And we'll see you next time, okay? Bye, everyone!
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Well.